Hey guys, hello, hi, how are you? A very good afternoon to all of you. Let me, okay, let's get back to the settings. Put it up. Let me see, am I looking? Great. All right, guys. All right, cool. So let me start the session. Let's wait for 30 seconds, guys. I think we can then start the session. All right. Hello, hi, Abdoshur. Hello. Welcome to the session on a live basis, and greetings from my side for all those students who are about to watch this in a recorded version. Right, so I think in the last class we have set it up till here, right? So I think I'll just share the screen and we'll tell you how are we going to take it forward from here. Right, so I'll just share the screen, the entire screen over here, share. Yeah, this is what we have done, guys. This is what we have done in the previous sessions over here. And in these I think what we did was basically we saw QTC in the last class. We saw subcategory wise profit and how can we use colors and use of marks and everything, right? Subcategory wise sales we have seen bubble chart as well, how to draw a bubble chart, and what kind of changes being made over here, right, guys? So point is, the moment you click on show me and click on a certain chart, Tableau draws that particular chart for you, and it basically makes those adjustments, the adjustments that what need to be put in color, what needs to be put in size, what needs to be put in label, detail, and tooltip over here, right? So that adjustment is done by Tableau on one click basis, right? For example, if I would draw a map, for example, if I have to go for, let's say, city wise, I want to understand profit. If I select map over here, right? So I'm looking at something like this. Now, this doesn't look good, guys, right now, because I think it's just giving me a one city Salem, which is obviously not true as per the data. There are 530 unknowns over here, which is basically a problem. And this is a common problem. People do face these kind of problems. Okay. So if I just click on this in order to get rid of this particular problem, it's called a location setting problem. We'll click on this and we can go for edit locations. If I click on edit locations, something like this comes up. Now the country India, which is being a country region which is being selected over here, is majorly India. Please change it to United States, because I think that is the country from where the data is coming from. I'll take the from field country and region. I'll take from field country and region. I've fixed it to United States. And if I click on OK, now we can see all the cities over here. Okay. And there's still 353 unknown, which is, I'll just go to the edit location over here and I'll say that, hello, what is happening? Let me go for from the field. I'll use it as state, because I say that get the name of the city using the state. That way, I'm reducing the number of unknowns over here. I'm now getting everything on my screen. Okay, so this is how we can proceed. This is what we've done over here. This is just a glimpse of what Tableau can do for you. Now, right now, I'm looking at the sum of profit being in the size. This is city right now. The state is there in the detail. But if I take out city, I think I can see the states over here. And now I can click on size. I can increase the size over here. And if I wish, I can put in profit into colors and can make this chart slightly more colorful. If I go for edit color, and we can make this chart slightly more colorful. Okay, and if I apply it, something like this turns up over here. Or we can still edit the color, and we can say that use full color range, so that the darkest red is also used over here. If you do this, we'll be able to see which are the most profitable states over here. As we can see, the most profitable states seems to be California and United States, right? So these are, sorry, California and New York, United States over here, right? So these are the two, the highest sized and most green bubbles over here, because both size, as we can see, whatever we put over here, the symbols, the details are recorded in marks. For example, if you look at it, there's a color over here. Against that particular color, we can see that what particular variable is taken for colors, what particular variable is taken for size, what particular variable is taken for details. We can see that all right. So we can see that in tooltip that details are throwing the country and the state over there along with the profit. Right, guys. So this is what we have been doing. This is what we do in Tableau. This is one of the charts which is called as map charts. Okay. Right now, I don't think I need this color, but if I want to keep it as it is, or probably I can hide this card, we can just keep the color. I click on show me and I can change it to other charts as well. For example, right now, here, every chart in the map, every state is basically represented by a bubble. Okay. And if it is represented by a bubble, then we can change it as well. This is called basically a symbol map in tab. We can click on this chart and now the chart becomes, the entire area of that state gets occupied. This looks slightly better because now we can see that, okay, this is slightly more green, this is green. So this is the United States, this is California. So this is California, this is New York over here. Texas is a state which is in big time into losses. Then if you look into losses, we can see states like Colorado, we have Arizona, we have Oregon, we have Tennessee, we have North Carolina, we have Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Illinois. These are the states which are right now in losses. This is what can be seen. Now, if you want to enhance this chart slightly better, right, we can put in something in labels. Right now, please try and understand. In the last session, we have already seen that we can use color, size, label, tooltip, and detail to our extent over here. For example, here I'm using detail and color only, and size is not required because I think the entire size is occupied, but labeling can be used over here. For example, if I just see sum of profit is what I'm representing through color, if I take this profit and put it on label, I can easily label the profits over here as well. Now the label over here, the number over here is representing the profit. Okay, and now I can format this as well. I can right click on this, go to format, go to the field which you want to select. I think I'm going to go for sum of profit. This is what I want to format. I'll click on this and I'll just go to, let's say, the numbers over here. I'll go to numbers custom. It says how many decimal places do you want. As you can see, there are two decimal places over here. I say that I do not want any single decimal place. In fact, I want to make it in thousands. So I can make it thousands over here, or probably not, because the numbers which are less than 500 are coming out to be zero over here, or the negative values are coming out to be zero. Right, so I'll just keep it none and let's keep it as it is. And now I'm exiting over here. Right, so this is a map. This is what a map is. I can call it a map. Right, let me call it a field map. Okay, so this is a field map. Now, guys, please try and understand that a lot of charts are there in Tableau, which can be drawn like this, which can be drawn and, you know, which can be drawn on one click using something called a show me, or as we have seen in marks, we can select certain charts over here and we can draw it like that. Okay, we can just change it and draw it like that. But there are certain charts which needs to be built up after making certain adjustments over here, which are called as advanced charts over here. For example, if I just want to build up something called a stacked bar chart, so I'll just go to another sheet and say that if I want to build up something called as stacked bar chart, that is, I want in the same bar. Let me show you what. First of all, let me show you what exactly is a stacked bar chart. So I think I'll make a simple Google search over here, and stacked bar chart. Now, if I look at it and if I go to images, so this is how a stacked bar chart looks like. If you look at it, so we can see that only one bar is there. Right now, it seems to be comparing five strategies: strategy 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And for product A, product B, product C, and product B. So based on five strategies, what are the various kind of probably sales? right? Compare sales strategy. What are the sales these products are generating based on certain sales strategy that they have offered? Okay. Now, if I look into it, guys, if I look into this and say that, can I say all the four products are stacked on top of each other? That is, whatever sales all four products are generated, have generated for all the five are stacked on top of each other. Yeah. Right, Saurav, that's a very, very broad question. That's a nice question, Saurav Baswas. What are the effective strategies for optimizing real-time streaming data visualization? Okay, in web applications. Well, in case of web applications, there are, see, once you look into it, there are many tools over here, right? And if you look at optimization level, there are a lot of tools that you need to use. There are certain tools which use something called as a refresh, for example, Power BI, and in fact, both Tableau as well. Tableau can also take data from, well, web, but it's not a tool which is commonly known, which takes data from web. Okay, it's majorly something which is connecting to a server or taking data from a flat file. But there are tools like Power BI, there are tools like QuickView, Google Studio who can take data from a web application. There are various ways of streaming the real time data. You can schedule a refresh, you can have an auto update option available. These are all options available in Power BI and in fact certain other tools as well. So it's a very broad question. In fact, a session can be taken on this, right? So I think that is something that probably should be kept for a appropriate amount of time and for the correct level of session over here. Here we are very focused on Tableau. Okay, what Tableau can do to us. All right, so coming back to the screen, guys, this is called a stacked bar chart. But nice, good that you asked that question. Very nice of you to ask that good question over here. Now we can see that each and every product sales are stacked on top of each other. The advantage of this is I'm able to compare the totalities as well as I'm able to compare the individual values. Not only I'll be able to compare the five strategies, but I'll also be able to compare the sales generated by individual products over here. Right? That is the case over here. Okay. Now, cool. So this is what is called a stacked bar chart right now. Now, if I go to this and let's see how to draw this one. Okay. So let me take something called as order date, put it on columns, and let me take something called as, let's say, sales and put it on rows. We have already discussed this, guys. Rear and sales. These are column shells and row shells. And let me take it to entire view. Now, as we can see, there are 4 years over here: 18, 19, 20, and 21. 4 years are here, and we are looking at the sales of all the 4 years. Now, let's say, let me convert this into a bar first of all. There's an automated line which has come up. If I convert this into a bar and shift the axis, this will become a vertical bar, and I'll take the entire view over here. So I've overridden what Tableau was suggesting. Okay, now, this each length of each and every bar over here is representing the sales of that particular year. Now, let's see what happens if I take, let's say, region. Now, if I take region, can you just see there's certain things which are getting highlighted over here. Now, I'll just put region back over here and I'll help you identify those highlights. For example, if I just look into it, if I look into it, just have a look at this pages and filters. Have a look at marks, these 5 elements of mark. Have a look at this column and rows over here, right? Once I take region and drag it out, please try and see how these gets highlighted. Okay, so let me do it like this. Let me go to region over here and drag it up. So can you just see these are getting highlighted over here? So they basically are saying that this particular field that you're dragging can be put anywhere. Now, depending upon where I put it, different kind of charts might be drawn, different kind of effect will be laid on this particular chart. Okay. For right now, let me take region and put it on color. There are 4 regions over here, that is central, east, south, and west. We can see now the moment I put it in color, every bar is now split into 4 colors. Every bar over here can be seen split into four colors over here. That is 18, 19, 20, and 21. So 18, 19, 20, and 21 में split हो गया ये, and we can see now we can not only study the entire sales of 18, 19, 20, and 21, because the entire bar is giving me how much is the sales of that particular year. We can see that 18 and 19, the sales in 19, overall sales in 19 decreased a bit from here, right? If we just focus, we can see that the sales decreased a bit, then sales increased over here, and then sales increased over here. I'm talking about the total sales. Okay, not only I can see the total sales, i can also I can also see the individual sales over here. For example, if you look at the breadth of the blue part over here, the blue part being represented by what? The central region. Okay, now I can see that the blue part almost remains constant from 18 to 19. That means the central region, I'll just click on that region, only that part of, oops, I'm so sorry for that. Let me minimize this. I'll just click on central region. Only that part of the stacking gets highlighted. Have a look. If I just click on this, we can just highlight only that particular portion over here, the blue one, which belongs to central. Okay. Now we can easily compare. This is 103, this is 102. And now the sales jumped from this year to this year and stayed constant over here. So sales, well, kind of dropped over here a bit, very marginally, increased substantially, and stayed at that level in the next year as well. This is the story of central region. Similarly, we can explore the story of the other regions over here as well. For example, if I look at east, and if that is the case, we can see that this is the eastern region, and I can see that there was some sales. The sales increased because I can see the size of that orange portion of the bar is increasing from 18 to 19. From 19 to 20, the size marginally increased, and from 20 to 21, the size further increased. So, this is actually giving me a good indication that although the overall sales decreased between these two, the sales from the eastern region actually increased, and it kept on increasing, although marginally, but it kept on increasing. Similarly, for South, we can easily see what is happening in South, and West seems to be the most promising region over here. Okay, so this is how we can see the region wise sales. And if you want to take it forward, if you want to take it further over here, and आपको और better करना है इसको, I think we're representing sales over here. We can take sales and put it on label. That way, the sales are represented over here. The number also comes up over here. You can then actually see, don't ignore the importance of formatting, guys. Okay. If I right click over here, go to format, go to field, go to, let's say, sum of sales, and go to pane. And now you'll say that, okay, I can format things a bit over here. For example, I can bold the values over here. I can increase the font size. I can decrease the font size. These are all things that you should play along with. Okay. And I can decrease the font size as well, depending upon whatever is your comfort level. Right. There's another thing that we can do over here. I believe it's there or not. I think we can go to label, click on label, click on this font over here, and go to match mark color. If you click on match mark color, the color of those numbers, the labels, will match the mark that they are a part of. For example, right now we can see blue being on blue, orange being on orange, red being on red, and whatever this color is of that particular color. Very handy at times. Okay, but here it seems to be slightly more, overwhelming. Okay, so this is one case. This is called a stacked bar chart. This is how we basically draw stacked bar chart. Okay, now let me hide this card. This is one chart that we wanted to confirm today. Today we are going to go for various kind of charts that we are going to go for. For example, if I just talk about, I think I already have I'll go for this online board over here. And if I look at what kind of charts are we going to look at in this particular session, we are talking about various kind of charts that we are talking about. First one is, I think we have already seen it, stacked bar chart. We're talking about stacked bar chart. All right. Now, once we have this, Now we are about to move on to something called as waterfall chart. Right? We have waterfall chart over here. Now we have waterfall chart. We'll try and look at Pareto chart. We'll try and look at something called as bump chart over here. That is something that we could look at. We look at donut chart. The only thing, the thing common between these charts is these charts cannot be drawn on the automated level over here in Tableau. These are not inbuilt charts. You need to make certain adjustments, and only then you'll be able to draw these kind of charts over here. Stacked bar chart is something that we've already seen. Let's move on to waterfall chart. We can move on to, in fact, let's move on to Pareto chart. We'll move on to bump chart over here, and then we'll move on to donut chart as well. Let me see whether we can do that or not. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Let me start with Pareto chart over here. Now Pareto uses something called as quick table calculation, and I think that will be pretty useful and handy over here. Now, what do you mean by Pareto chart? Pareto chart gives you cumulative values over here. Okay, it gives you cumulative values. For example, if I look at let's say subcategory, let me put subcategory in columns, and let me put sales on this, and let's put this in the descending order over here. Okay, I'll take sales again and put over here. Now if I put in two quantities, guys, we'll see that there are two charts which are coming up, because in rows I put in two things. One is sales, the other one is also sales. If I put in something else, for example, if I take out sales from here and put profit, right? Now we can see that the profits are kept over here, sales are also kept over here. We can see now in the rows level case, we have sales as well as profit. There are two things which are being represented over here. Okay, now let me take back sales and put it up over here. In fact, guys, I think on second thoughts, before we go into all these kind of things, I think there's one chart or one type of adjustment that I would like to talk about, and that is called as dual axis. Dual axis means that we have two charts on one chart. That is, there are two y-axis. For example, dual-axis chart looks something like this: that there is a y chart, y-axis over here, and there is another y-axis over here, and there is probably a chart over here on bar chart, let's say, and there is a line chart which is talking about another variable. There is one variable which is being represented by this y-axis. There is another variable which is represented by secondary y-axis over here. Right? These are the two x. Based on the two axes, we'll be able to see, what kind of changes are there in the two variables. That is, I can put in two variables on the same chart. Let me have a look at what dual chart is, because in certain cases we'll be using how dual charts are drawn over here. So if I, let's say, put profit and put it up over here, there are few changes you need to observe and acknowledge. The first one being that there are two things coming up in rows. One is sales, the other one is profit. Sales and profit. Right. And now once we look into it, right, I can convert both. Now, the moment I put in two things on rows, sum of sales and sum of profit, can you see on marks? On marks, we have two things which are coming up. In fact, if I take this profit out, have a look at the marks section. The moment I had kept this chart very simple, like subcategories followed by sum of sales, it was very simply representing subcategories. Let me go for entire view. It was very clearly representing subcategories and the sales over here. Marks made, there was only one mark, that is color, size, label, tooltip, and detail. There was only one mark over here. But the moment I put another quantity here apart from sales, let's say I put in profit. Now the entire, the width over here, how can we display top five and last five sales in the same view? We'll come back to that, don't worry. That is how we can actually apply filters. Okay, display top five and last five sales in the same view. Very nice. I think this seems to be a nice question taken from ChatGPT. Good. Now if I look at it, right? So if you look at it, some profit and sales and profit are coming up over here. Okay, now we can see that the entire excess over here gets split into sales and profit. Okay, now you can see in marks as well that there are three levels of marks now. There's sum of sales and there's sum of profit. Sum of sales and sum of profit. Okay, so this is sum of profit, this is sum of sales over here, right? Now, for profit, there is one set of mark. Can you just focus on this? This entire set of marks is one set of marks over here for profit. Okay, if I click on the other one, for example, sum of sales, let me minimize this first. If I look at sum of sales, this is for sales. Okay, so there's a set of marks which is only for sales. There's a set of marks which is only for profit, and there's another set of marks which is for all. Now, if I make any change in all, the change gets reflected in all the charts that we have over there. Right now, we have only two charts. Okay, now, if I want to make certain specific changes in one chart, it's called sum of sales and sum of profit. Okay, so this is sum of sales and sum of profit over here. So if I want to make certain change in profit, for example, color चाहिए भाई मुझे profit में, तो I'll take profit and put it on color over here. Now I'll have to be mindful over here. The mindfulness seems to be for, you need to ensure that the color is put on the marks of profit. Now if I take this color and put it on marks of all, if I put it up over here, both the charts will be colored in the same way. Okay, because you put this particular profit variable on color of all over here, right? Uh, all mark. I'll just say that let's minimize all and let's go to profit. And I want to say that I just want to ensure that the coloring happens only for profit. So I'll just click it on, I'll put it on profit. We can then edit colors. Okay, we can click on this, we can say that, okay, let's go for red, green, diverging, use the entire scale, let's apply it. I think this is better. We can easily see that which of these charts are, which of them are profit making, which of them are loss making. So this can be done. We can also change the type over here. For example, we can change this to a line over here. We can definitely change it to a line. We can change it to an area over here, right? And we can change it to, let's say, square. We can change it to multiple things, circle, right? I would encourage you guys to explore this further over here. Okay, now the I like the line chart over here. The reason is I can see that there's certain subcategories which are in profit, there are certain subcategories which are in losses. The moment the losses comes in, the color of the line changes to red, and as it keeps on going, the color of the line comes back to green if the profit is greater than zero, and same is the case over here, right? So this is the point. Now if I, let's say, I want to take this up and say that let's put profit over here on label, and then we can say that let's format the label over here. We can just right click on one of the label and format it. Okay, field, sum of profit, and now I can change it to numbers custom. There is no decimal place required. Let's keep it in thousands so that it doesn't occupy a lot of space over here. So this chart about profit is ready. Phone's profit seems to be 45K. Now I'll move on to sum of sales. Okay, so I'm in the process of dual axis. Okay, now what I'll do over here is that I think let me keep the color over here to very simple, that is blue. Let me keep this color to blue, or probably what suits in green and red is something more towards, well, sky blue. I can give my changes over here, isn't it? I can look into it, what looks better over here, what looks good over here. We can always try that kind of stuff. Let me put up orange over here. Let's keep it as it is. Now, what I need to do is to ensure that the two graphs are overlapped on one. That is, I can say that, we can click on this drop down and click on something called as dual axis. The moment I do this, there's certain changes which will come up. Both the charts, which are right now on two different axes, will come on one axis. For example, if I click on dual axis, they are on one axis. The only difference being there is a small change in the bar chart, which can be actually, we can overlook those particular changes. We can go over here and say that instead of automatic, go for bar. So now this is bar. Now looking at a dual chart, right, the chart is giving me the sales, at the same time is also giving me the profit over here. For example, I can see that there is a category called as tables, okay, which is giving me good sales but is also giving me huge losses of 18K over here. Similarly, we can see there are certain categories like bookcases. You know what, if I right click over here and if I click on rotate label, I can rotate those labels so that if there is a problem in reading those labels, okay. So now if I look into it, bookcases are there, and in bookcases we can see that there is something called as, there's a loss over here, minus 3K, and so sales is substantial over there as well. Now this we are talking about, a dual chart, dual axis. So I'll go for this as profit and loss, and let me call it subcategory profit and loss. I'll go for subcategory profit and loss. Right. So that way we can easily see that this is the profit and this is the loss. Now, this is how it goes right now. This is a dual axis. And now we can make further changes over here. For example, I do not want this profit to come up over here for some reason. I'll say that the profit is there. We know this is, subcategory wise profit and loss. In fact, let's click on this and edit the title first, guys. So I'll just click on this, take it to the center, make it bold, 18. Right, we can go to Arial black. We can click on color. If you want to select a color, let me go for dark brown and click on OK. I think this is better, right? This is cool over here. So this is subcategory and this is profit. We can format things further over here, but right now let's keep it as it is. Right, we can right click over here, go to format, and in fact we can go to, well, subcategory sum of sales, and we can go to access and we can say that let's reduce the font, make it bold over here. We can color it up as well. We can make it a blue color one, right? And yeah, this is something that can be done. And the numbers can also be standardized over here. Right now the numbers are in 100K. We can change the numbers, and if you want to represent them in millions, that won't be a bad option, because right now we can see that the sales can be compared using this. Or I think on second thoughts, million is a bad idea. Let's keep it to thousands. Okay, so let's keep it as it is. I right click over here and I can just uncheck this show header. That way the secondary y-axis is no longer represented on the chart, and now we can say that okay, this is my dual axis chart representing profit and loss. Right, sorry, I should not say profit and loss, I should say profit and sales, my bad. Right, so it'll be profit and sales. So right now this is representing sales and this is representing profit. Right, so this is a dual axis chart. Now if I click on the presentation mode, it looks something like this. Right, it goes properly on the screen. That way we can easily see it. Right, now let me make certain changes on the display settings over here. Let me keep it to 150. Let's keep it as it is. Excellent. Great. Now, if I press escape on my keyboard, I'll be out of this particular dual axis chart. Right. So this is right now my subcategory wise profit and sales. This is my dual axis. So you see two charts today. One is stacked bar chart and subcategory wise profit and sales. Okay. Now, if I click on this, right, let me go ahead and go for the next possible chart. Now, next is a Pareto chart. For understanding Pareto chart, right, we needed the understanding of dual axis. That's what we have done over here. Okay, so let me do the same thing now. Let for a Pareto of sales only based on let's say state. Let me take state over here, and we can go to sales and put sales over here in row values. We put them in the descending order. Okay, by clicking on this particular icon. Now I'll take sales again and put just beside the first sale in rows over here. That way I'm having exact same chart on two cases over here. Okay, we can easily see that this is my sales two, this is my sales two, and this is one, right? And now I need to make certain changes to make the Pareto chart. Let me first show you how Pareto charts look like. Right. So the Pareto chart looks something like this. Now, if you look at it, this is basically the representing the frequency, and this is cumulative percentage. Right now, it is giving me nothing but the cumulative percentage over here. Okay, that is, let's say this is, I think, not a very self-explanatory chart over here. So I'll just try and take another chart. Let me try and take this chart, and let's say that these are representing, for example, sales in million right now. So there are countries: USA, China, Japan, Germany, UK, France, India, Spain, and Netherlands. Let's say it's the GDP of those countries in $1 billion, let's say, or $1 billion, whatever, maybe, right? Uh, as of now, let's hope it is $1 billion. Now, Pareto chart, there are two charts. One are bar charts, which is representing the individual elements over here, and there's a line chart which is moving along with the bar chart. The line chart over here represents the cumulative value. For example, US alone contributes close to around 20% of the world's GDP. Now, if I look at US plus China, it says that they are contributing around 35%. And we can see that if you look at USA, China, and Japan, we can see that their GDP contributes close to 55% of the entire world's GDP. So this is where Pareto charts are useful, because the Pareto charts can show the accumulation effect over here. मतलब यूएसए चाइना जापान का अलग अलग वैल्यूज तो मुझे दिख ही रहा है. At the same time, I can see the cumulative effect these values are taking when it comes to the chart over here, right? So we can see that USA, China, Japan in total contributes around close to 55% of the entire world's GDP. Okay, now something like this, right? This is right now give me something, and now I can see that whatever these categories are, the first five categories, which is fatigue, high, mechanics, creep, and envy, are basically contributing around 73% of the totality over here. This is the meaning of Pareto chart. This is the application of Pareto chart over here. Let's see how can we draw this in our Tableau workbook. Now, Pareto is nothing but a dual chart, guys, right? So you need to understand that this is a dual chart. Now, I would do one thing that I don't need. Uh, I think in both the cases I've done the same thing, but no worries, no worries. Let me click on this sum sales over here, which is the second one. Click on this, go to quick table calculation and go for running total. That way, the chart actually goes into running total. Please try and understand this. This is my California. Now, this is not New York. It is running total up to New York. That is, this is New York plus California. If I click on this, this is not only for whatever state this state is, Texas, right? I'm not able to see the name right now because the space is not good enough. I can go to the entire view, then only I'll be able to read them. In fact, I can right click over here, go to format, and in fact, in the pane, I can, or in the header, I can reduce the font size over here to, let's say, 8. That way, we can easily read the states now, and also we can make them bold so that the states are not hidden. Let's color them as well. That's a better one. Okay, now let me look into it. So this is just giving me cumulative values, right? So these are giving me individual sales of that particular value, and this is giving me cumulative sales. Quite clearly, both these sales are running on different scales, because here it is 500k, 1000k, 1500k, and here it is 100k, 200k, 300k, 400k. So don't worry about the scales over here right now, guys, because we anyways are going to change it. What we are going to do in this is that we're going to go to this particular chart again. We have converted them into quick table calculation, that is running total. We can go to this particular drop down again. Oops. Click on this drop down and you can click on edit table calculation. Now, once you click on edit table calculation, something like this pops up on your screen. Now, edit something like this, which simply means that, okay, I want to go for running total and I'll want to add a secondary calculation. So you can add a secondary calculation on top of the primary one. What is the primary calculation? Primary calculation is the running total. That is the cumulative effect. If you add a secondary one, you can say that, hello, I want the percentage of total difference from percentage difference from. We have seen all this once we're discussing quick table calculation in the previous video. If you want to know more, I would request and urge you guys to go and watch the previous video. But right now let me look into percentage of total. Now this chart is giving me percentage of total sales. So all these states are cumulatively collecting certain sales over here. They are cumulatively collecting certain sales, isn't it? Now, if I click on this and I'll say that, hello, I want go for specific dimension over here, and I like to go it based on state. Fair enough. I think this is the dimension that I wanted to go for. Now, if I click on this, now I can see that this is nothing but on a percentage basis, guys. And now if I try and put label over here, that is, if I say show mark label, those percentages are being the percentages do come up over here. Let me tell you what you mean by this. It means California alone contributes. Let me first format this and then I'll come to the meaning of this. I'll click on format. I'll click on the field, which is percentage of total running sum. I'll click on pane and say that, boss, this is a percentage. And I don't want a decimal place. Let's keep the decimal place to minimum, that is 0. Now I can see, I'll just close this formatting page over here. Now I can see that California alone contributes 20% of the total sales of all the states. So we can see how many states are there in total. If I want to count how many states are there, let me open up a simple case and let me try and put states over here to text. Let me go for a measure called as count or count distinct. It's going to give me 49 states are there. Okay, 49 states are there. Let me delete this. So out of those 49 states, there is one state, California, which alone is contributing 20% of your sales. In fact, the most staggering figure is the top five. If I select the top five over here, these are my top five states. The top five states, based on sales, are contributing 52%, or just more than half of the total sales contributed by all the 49 states in US. Okay, so ऊपर के 5 स्टेट मिलके आधा सेल्स निकाल रहे हैं मेरा, which, well, it depends upon the outlook. Might be good for you, might be bad for you, right? You might say that, okay, ठीक है, क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है? Or you might say that, okay, our business is pretty much limited to few states only, and if there's something goes wrong in those states, our businesses might be in trouble, so we might have to see the ways of expansion into other states as well, right? And there are good states present over here, because if you look at the next five, Florida, Illinois, Ohio, Washington, and Virginia, they're just giving me what, 69 minus 52 makes it like around another 17%. Next five gives me another, first five gives me 52%, the next five gives me just another 17 percentage. Well, something is wrong. So I'll have, at least if I'm not for smaller states, I can at least focus on the next five, so that the contribution is slightly better. Now things like this do come up in Pareto chart. Although we are not done with Pareto chart right now, what we need to do is to make some changes. Of course, we need to convert this into dual axis, but before that, what we need to do is to go for sum of sales, which is the second one, convert this into a line. That way it looks better, isn't it? This is a better line. So the line looks better. Okay. So California is 20%, then we are 33%, 47, 41%. You can right click over here, go to formatting, and say that this is coming out to be high, because Let's reduce the font size over here. I reduce the font size of this. Sorry, I have to go to pane, and I'll have to reduce the font size from here, right? So the numbers font size are reduced. Now, what I'm going to do is to click on this small drop down over here and go to something called as dual axis. That way, the line remains as it is, but the previous bar chart becomes a dot chart, which can easily be changed by going to the marks of the first sales over here, this one. And instead of automatic, select a bar. The bar gets restored over here. Now, this appears to be a very good Pareto chart over here. And we can say that this is my sales, cumulative sales over here. Okay. So I can say that this is, yeah, Pareto ही बोल लेते हैं इसको कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. This is my Pareto chart, and we can easily see that there's certain, you know, charts, certain things which can be drawn over here. Now, plenty of inferences can be drawn over here. For example, I can see, I think I've already done this, right? First five contributes to 52% of your sales. Now, if I look at the last five, this will be slightly more interesting. So, if I look at last five, the last five, these five are contributing how much? They're all 100%, less than 1% contribution of the last five, right? So, there is certain level of, you know, disparity when it comes to taking sales out of various states. There seems to be a question. So the question is, sir, can you explain how clients in analytics companies come up with their problems and what kind of business problem employees need to address? Okay, sort of. I think the questions are really good. Okay, there is no doubt about it. Perhaps the stage is not right. You're focused on the session on Tableau. 100%. These are all questions worth asking. So the question over here is very simple. It says how analytics companies come up with their problems and what kind of business problem employees need to address. Uh, Generally, the companies are coming with only two things. I'll just go take 1 minute and explain it. I'll not go too deep into it. The companies come with two things: one, a problem, or the other one is objective. Okay. For example, the problem might be sales are declining over the years, or I should say, the profitability is declining over the years. Sales are increasing, but profitability is declining over the years. What can be done about it? Very simple example. Okay. The projects are obviously deeper than this and more complicated than this. But if I just take a simple example that sales of my company is increasing, but the profitability is decreasing, what to do, this is a problem. Second one is an objective. The objective is, I want to create, let's say, visibility of a certain department. For example, again, let's say that department is sales department. I want to create visibility of my sales department. What do you mean by creating visibility of the sales department? It simply means that I want to understand who is performing well. Let's say there is a 50-member team of sales department. Which category team is performing well? Who are the top five performers? How much of the sales is being generated from top five? How much? Who are the bottom five performers? What are we doing to improve them? All that kind of stuff can be seen over here, right, guys? So this is an objective. So there's a problem. There's an objective over here, right? So there's a problem, there's an objective. So generally, it's the BA's job, that is business analyst job, to interact with clients and understand their requirement. Data analyst doesn't interact with clients that much. Data analysts are majorly into after the problem or objective of the client is understood. The work of a DA starts after that. The work of a BA, which is business analyst, starts when the client comes in and says that I have a problem, need data driven solution for this particular problem. The job of the BA starts, business analyst. Once business analyst is finished, almost finishes his first phase of the job, which is understanding client requirement, then comes in the data analyst. Okay. Problem might be, I want to build a model which will predict another problem. Now, this is not a problem, it's an objective. I want to build a model which will predict the whether the upcoming customer which is coming into my my bank. Let's say I'm a bank. is what are the chances of him defaulting on a credit card loan? Shall I issue him a credit card or shall I not issue him a credit card based on the credit history of that customer? Now, this is nothing but an objective, right? The BA understands this objective, explains this to DA, and then the work starts from there. So, unfortunately, you'll not be able to dig too deep into it, Saurabh, but it's a very decent question. Perhaps the platform, some other platform, we would definitely discuss deep into that. Okay, so right now coming back to Pareto chart, guys, you can see on the screen that a lot of information can be drawn. For example, if I look at the top 10 states only, if I look at the top 10 states, they're contributing 74% over here, right? And plenty of information, 100%. Let's not worry about it, right? By the way, if you're seeing that, if I'm how am I selecting the states, I am just clicking and then dragging. Those that particular portion of the data gets selected over here, right? So this is called a Pareto chart, used for. Thank you, Saurabh. Thanks a lot. Right. So this is the case over here for Pareto chart, and now I can move on to this thing. Cool. So Pareto chart is seen. We have seen dual chart over here. Stacked bar chart is there. Let me try and draw a donut chart over here. Okay. Let me try and draw a donut chart. Cool. So for donut chart, what we'll do is we'll just put in two pie charts over here. For example, let me go for donut chart. And how do donut chart looks like? Let me try and put it up over here. Okay, यहाँ पर बता देता हूँ आपको donut chart. Donut. Sorry, I forgot the spelling. I was never good at spelling, guys. I hope. Right. So yeah, donut chart. Oh, sorry. I should have kept the spelling slightly simpler. Great. So something like this is a donut chart. That is, there is a pie chart. Inside this, there is a smaller area over here that can be a dark area or a light area. And now this is it's basically a slightly more aesthetically pleasing version of pie chart. A slightly more aesthetically pleasing version of pie chart. Okay. So let me look into this, and yeah, various kind of donut charts can be drawn, guys. This is also very nice because what has happened over here is that there are three levels of things which are being shown over here. Okay, let me look into this. Let me try and draw this, but not today. Right. So this is donut chart. Let me minimize this. Come back to Tableau. How can we draw this? So let's the donut chart, as we have already discussed in the previous session, that is representing classification. That is, or I should not say classification, composition is the right word over here, right? So composition is something that pie chart and donut chart represents. For example, what is the composition of various ship modes? Well, various ship modes over here, right? So I'll just look into ship mode and what is the profit contribution of these ship modes over here. The moment I select the two variables, Tableau automatically selects a chart. Okay, I made a mistake over here. I'll just do this, guys. I think let's make it a thumb rule. I'll just delete this. What I'll do now is that there's a problem that I've done over here. So I'll just rectify this here in this chart. I'll just edit the title, format the title, I should say. I'll make it, let's keep it at the center. Let's take 18 over here. Let's take Arial black. Okay. And let's take the color as dark brown. And yeah, I can do a number of things, 100%. If I click on OK, now this is my Pareto chart. Okay, so I'll go for Pareto chart. Okay, so this is my Pareto chart. Now what I'll do is I'll not create another chart by clicking on this. I'll not create a new worksheet, because if I create a new worksheet, I need to edit everything over here. All right, the formatting, if I want the formatting to be copied in the next sheet, it's better for us to duplicate a already completed format completely. If there's a sheet which is already formatted, it's much better to right click over here and duplicate this. Okay, so I'll go for, now here I want to go for donut chart. Okay, So I'll go for donut chart over here and I'll just clear the sheet. I can click on this particular icon over here and I can clear the sheet. Okay, I hope the text on the it's readable, guys, right? I think it is pretty much readable. Great. Right. Now into it. Now I want to create a donut chart. The way I do it is again using dual axis. So what is donut chart? A bigger pie chart and a smaller pie chart. So there's a bigger pie chart and there's a smaller pie chart over here. Okay, so let me try and do it. Let me try and do this thing. And let me try and see that I want to understand ship mode wise. Let me try and put up ship mode and let me try and put up profit over here. It's suggesting me something, but I'll say that let me give me a pie chart. Okay, and I'll go for the entire view. Right, and there's a problem because I need to create another pie chart over here. How can I create another pie chart? Right, so that way I'll need to. Okay. Hmm. So if I go for the same things again, let's try and do the same thing, which is majorly ship date. Okay, this is giving me this thing, and if I go for this, okay, got it. So if I go for, let's say, profit again over here, splitting it up over here. So I just need two pie charts to be overlapped on top of each other, right? So how can I just copy this pie chart? This is something that is, well, at this point of time missing from my area of expertise, right? So I might require something else and I might need to do that over here. And that can be done using a calculated field. If I click on this, and I'll come back to this, guys. I think I didn't want to enter into this particular topic right now, but it seems to be a necessity to draw a donut chart over here. Okay, if I click on this, something like this comes up on your screen, and I'll just do one simple. In fact, it's not a calculation at all. I'll just call it zero, right? And the text over here is nothing but, well, we can just keep it as it is. This is a zero, and I'll keep it as. Let me try this. If doesn't come up, we probably can look into it later on. Okay. Now this is a zero. I'll take this and put it up over here. Let me try and put it up over here. This is another zero. And then I'll take it up and put it up another zero over here. Right. So I'm successfully able to create two pie charts here. Okay. Now what this is nothing but a zero over here. Okay. Now I'll just go to the bigger zero. This is the first zero and this is the second zero. So guys, what has happened over here is that I've created a calculated field called as zero and assigned that a value zero and taken that up and put it on row. So there's a big zero coming up over here. Okay. Now I'll use this to create a pie chart. So I'll just do one thing. I can first increase the size of one and I can decrease the size of the other one. Right? It seems to be appropriate. We can actually adjust the size later on as well, but let's keep it as it is. What I can do now is I can put whatever I need to classify on the bigger zero. For example, let's say I want to understand, you know, ship mode. So I'll take ship mode and put it on what? The angle over here. Oops, sorry, not on the angle. I'll take the ship mode and put it on. Okay. The error over here. What is that? What is that? What is that? It's okay. Okay, my bad, my bad. I'm so sorry. Right, so I'm taking ship mode and putting it up over here. Ideally, I should have put in a value over here in the angles. So I just wanted to represent what profit over here, right? So I'll just, in fact, let's go for, with this being a pie chart, let's go for a positive quantity. Let me go for sales only. Okay, I'll go for putting sales in the angle, and let me put up ship date on colors over here. Fair enough, right? So I think this is fine. Right, or we can look into it that based. Oh, I put in ship date. Sorry. I'll take the state and put ship mode on color. So these are the four ship modes over here. There is first class, same day, second class, and standard class over here. And now I can see that this is a pie chart which is representing the same thing. We can take the, and we have taken sales over here, right? So let's take sales and put it on the top over here. Okay. And I'll take the say, I'll take ship mode and put it on label as well. So this is label, this is ship mode over here. Now I can see each and every ship mode and the sales generated by that particular ship mode. I'll remove this card because this card, the objective of this card was to represent what class is represented by which color. But now I already know that using this particular pie chart. So I'll click on this drop down and say that hide the card so that I get more space. Okay. Now what I need over here is to click on this sum zero and convert this into a dual axis. Right now we can see that both the charts or both the pies, if I do control Z, the pies were on different scale right now. The zeros were on a different scale right now. But if I click on this drop down and say that let's convert this into a dual axis, both the pies are overlapping on top of each other. And what is happening is the first pie, being a smaller pie, is actually looking like a hole in the entire donut over there. Okay. Now what you can do is you can increase the size over here. Let's say let's increase the size of the bigger donut. Some oops, too got too excited there. Right. So I think something like this, or probably further, and then you can go to this, the smaller one, and increase the size of this one as well as per your liking. Okay, so I think this is one chart which is coming up. Now I can easily see that, okay, standard class is generating this much of sales. You can always right click and format, guys. You don't have to worry about that stuff. You can click on this and go to some sales. Okay, and say that, hello, I do not want the decimal places 100% not, and I want it to be in thousands. So keep it in thousands. So I just kept it in thousand. That way the numbers are represented slightly better. You can still go ahead and put a few things over here because I think in sum of sales you can click on this drop down and go to the same thing, that is add table calculation. But I think that is too much of a complication at this stage. We'll take it later on, guys. Okay, so yeah, this is like a donut chart. In fact, this is a donut chart. Oops, so sorry. I think I removed something over here. I'll just do Control Z. Yeah, it comes up. So I'll go for the second one and I'll reduce the size of this. And I can adjust the size. And it's not only the size which is bothering me. There's another thing which is bothering me in this donut chart. And that is that this grayish color is not very well suited. I think it should be white over there or any other color which I like. So I can change that. I can go to this particular sum zero and say that let's put on color and take up. First of all, you can maintain the opacity of this particular color as well. This color is a gray color which is automatically somehow selected by Tableau. But if you reduce the opacity, the intensity of that color gets reduced. Let me something like this. But that's a dangerous ploy because in that case the background color will also be visible and the user kind of knows that you use two pie charts over here. So not a good thing. So it's better that I change the color. Now I'll keep it to white, which is absolutely in parallelism with the overall chart. This appears to be my donut chart. And why people go for donut chart as compared to the pie chart? The reason is very simple, that the middle portion over here, this middle portion can represent something. Let's say I'm looking at sales over here, right? Or I think I've gone for profit over here. No, I've gone for sales. So if the middle portion is remaining these or showing the sales, what you can do is you can put in total sales over there. For example, let me go to the sum zero of the second one and take sales and put it on label. So now it is giving me total sales in between. You can click on label and say that let's format it. Okay. So if I click on those three dots, something like this will appear over here. I'll say that this is my total sales, put it down, select the entire thing, go for 15, go for Arial black, bold, right? That's it. If I click on apply and click on OK, if you want to color it out, you can color it out as well. So, but now it looks like a good pie chart, a good donut chart, because it's giving me total sales and then it's giving me bifurcation of those. Somehow I missed the labels over here, so I'll take sales and put the labels over here. Now we're looking at the individual label as well, we're looking at the total labels as well. This looks like a good sales level donut chart, right? So this is what we can definitely go for. This is called as donut chart. Let me copy this, right click over here and duplicate this for the next chart that we're going to draw. But before that, I'll just, clear this because we've already drawn the donut chart. Right, so this is my donut chart and this is where I'm going to draw another one over here. And let's go for something called as waterfall chart. So today we've seen a lot of charts which are not inbuilt in Power BI, guys. Sorry, in Tableau. In Tableau, a lot of charts are there which are inbuilt. Once you click on show me, you can see a lot of charts are there which are already inbuilt. Okay. Now, if you look into it, there are plenty of other charts which can still be drawn on Tableau and they are not inbuilt. And we are seeing that only. We started with dual axis, we started with stacked bar chart, moved on to dual axis, moved on to Pareto chart, then we drawn donut chart, and now we are about to draw a waterfall chart. What is a waterfall chart, you guys? Let's see what is a waterfall chart. So I'll again go for the same search over here. Let me go for waterfall chart in Tableau. So this looks like a waterfall chart. Okay. Okay. Yeah. This is a good one. Yeah. Let's go ahead with this. So right now this is running sum of profit. So what is waterfall chart? Waterfall chart is represented the, how should I say, the movement of a totality. For example, this is my totality. Guys, look over here. This is my grand total towards the right. This is the running sum of profit. This is the cumulative profit. So if this is the total profit I'm generating out of these, let's say, subcategories only, I think they've used the same data over here. We can let's draw the same chart, right? So we'll draw the same chart. I think if it's the same one, I'll use the subcategories only. So this is giving me the contribution made by every subcategory in the totality. In the total profit, what is the contribution made by the profits generated out of every subcategory? For example, accessory, this is the contribution. Once I move on from accessory to appliances, the contribution actually decreases. The contribution of art is very less in profit. Binders is okay. And bookcase is actually loss making. Then chairs comes in, and I think the next one is copiers, which is contributing very handsomely over here. And so same is the case with papers and phones. But at the end, we see two loss-making subcategories. One is supplies, another one is tables. So this is looking like a waterfall. So imagine this totality being a cliff. It's a cliff, okay, and the water is falling from that. So that's why it's called waterfall chart. But using this particular chart, I can represent a totality very well. So let me see how can we do that. How can we draw a waterfall chart? Again, for drawing the waterfall chart, I beg your pardon that I'll have to use something called as calculated field again. Okay, calculated field is it's a feature which is not present in the current data, but if I use this, I'll be able to create further features, right? For example, I can see that profit is there, sales is there, but profit as a percentage of sales is not there in the data. If I want that for some reason, I can calculate that and I can go for the calculated fields over here. That is the advantage of calculated field. Today, however, in drawing these advanced charts, we are using calculated field for an entirely different purpose. We are making certain adjustments over here. So let me try and do it over here. So let me do one thing. I'll click on this and create a calculated field. And let me go for waterfall. Let me call it waterfall because I'm going to use only for waterfall. And I'm going to go for negative of profit. I'll go for negative of profit, right? And it shows the calculation is valid. It says that whatever is the profit, just the negative of it. Simple as that. So if profit is 10,000, the value of waterfall variable will become minus 10,000. Simple as that. Okay. If I just click on OK, and now the variable got created in the measures over here. Now let's start drawing our chart over here. What I want is I want the sales, or rather I should see the profit in terms of, well, let's see based on certain months. Let me go for profit first. I'll take profit and put it on rows, and I'll take, let's say, order date and put it on columns. Okay, and let me go for the entire view, and let me override show me and say that I don't want a line chart, give me a bar chart over here. And that too, not this kind of bar chart, give me a vertical bar chart. I can do that by swapping the axis over here. So I'll swap the axis. I'll say that give me the entire view. So this is just yearly level stuff right now, guys. Okay, now if I want to understand that on a monthly level, how has that changed? Now this will be very interesting, guys, and at the same time allow me to increase the complexity level a bit over here. For example, I think we have already discussed this, that there are two things over here. One is once I click on this drop down, this is giving me the aggregate level data, and this is giving me the non-aggregated data. So if I click on quarter over here, it's going to give me quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. And if you ask quarter one, two, three, and four of which year, my answer would be all the years. It's aggregated data. This is sum of profit of all quarter ones because there are multiple years. There are 4 years over here. And so there are four quarter ones. All the four quarter ones are summing up to give me this particular profit. Similarly, quarter two, quarter three, and quarter four. But this is aggregated level data. Quarter one, all the quarter ones. This is all the quarter twos, all the quarter threes, all the quarter fours. If I click on this and take it to monthly level, this gives me all the Januaries, all the March, all the Februaries, and so on like this. Okay, so this is basically cumulative data. I can remove the accumulation by not selecting any one of these five. Right now, the selection is of the top five over here. I can come down and say that give me the selection over here. For example, if I go for monthly level case over here, and let's say I go for a descending order. I'm not allowed a descending order over here. That's a very sad thing. Okay, let me then redo it. I'll take the sum of profit and put it back over here. And let me take this up, order date, right? Let me, and I think that way, once I click on this, take out year, take out quarter, it becomes month. Let me click on this drop down and click on this month. That way, the month goes on something like this. Now, this is majorly nothing but, every month's case over here. Right now, I'm not able to see every month, guys, because, you know, uh, if I just right click and say that if I right click and format this axis, I think that way I'll be able to show you guys properly. This is the format, and I'll click on, well, month of order date. I'll go to axis and I'll say that in the alignment, I want it to be vertical. Let's go for up over here. So this is something like this. Now you can see that these are all monthly. This is Jan 2018, Feb 2018, and March 2018. Well, or we can probably change it. I think if it is becoming too complicated, we can actually go one level down. Let's get it to quarter. Fair enough. I think let's get it to quarter. So this is basically every quarter. First quarter, 18th first quarter, 18 second quarter, 18 third quarter, 18 fourth quarter, and similarly for the next year now, 19, 20, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four, then so on like this, right? Now what I can do is I can create something called as a waterfall chart on this. The first thing that I need to do is to ensure that I convert this into something called as Gantt bar. So if I click on Gantt bar, it becomes something like this. So it's a Gantt bar now. Okay. Now I take waterfall and put it on label. I'm so sorry. Not on label. I'll take waterfall and put it on size. Right. One very important thing I forgot to do. So I'll just do that before I move on to this. In fact, I'll do Control Z and get back to the bars. Right. These were the bars we had. So one important thing which I forgot was to click on this sum profit. Click on this, go to quick table calculation and click on running total. Click on running total. Okay. And once you click on running total, okay. Once you click on running total, something like this is coming up. Now the bars are showing the running total. Okay. Now what I need to do is to click on this marks over here, click on the drop down and go to something called as Gantt bar. So Gantt bar is just giving me the dashes over there. Now I'll take waterfall and put it on size over here. That way now I can see that okay, it's like the bars are floating in air over here. Okay. We can increase the size over here as well. We can increase the size a bit and we can actually maximize the size or minimize the size depending upon what I want to do with it. Okay. So this is the case. Right. Now the job is half done, only half done over here. Right. Now what I'll do is I'll click on dashboard over here. Right. And oops, sorry, I'll click on analysis over here and go to totals and show grand total over here. Row grand total. Okay. I'll click on analysis and I'll go for totals and I'll go for row totals to the left. Oops, I think it's because of the magnified screen. I'm not able to look into it. For the moment being, guys, let me allow this, please. I'll just momentarily decrease the size over here to the normalcy. Let me do that. Okay. Let me come back over here. Click on analysis. Go to totals and let me uncheck this. Let me uncheck this as well. And go to I think the total option somehow is not being coming up over here. Row totals to the left or row totals to the right option is what I want. But show column and grand totals are for some reason not coming up. Perhaps it doesn't come up in this kind of chart. Let me do one thing then. In that case, I'll come back to the original dimensions 150 percentage, the second screen. Let me come back and let me for the moment clear this chart, right? And let me take, instead of order date, let me keep it to subcategory. Let me try and show waterfall in subcategory over here. I'll take subcategory, I'll take profit of the subcategories over here, and let me, yeah, keep it like this only. Let me go for the entire view, and then based on this entire view, I'll click on this sum profit and go to quick table calculation, go for running total. This is my running total. Go to this automatic and click on Gantt chart. That way it becomes Gantt chart. I take this waterfall and put it on size. That way the Gantt chart is sized over here. And now let me try and do this. If I click on analysis and totals and Mm, 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 mm. I think there was a column which there seems to be some kind of update right now on this or on my tool, but I think I can go for show grand totals over here. Show totals to the right. I wanted show totals to the right, which is not coming up. Okay, let me finally do this. Otherwise, we can leave our waterfall chart like this. Okay, let's keep it at least like this only. But now we can take this waterfall variable and put it on color as well. And then we can format the color. For example, we can say that okay, this is right now representing the waterfall over here is representing the profit. So I'll just say that let's go to edit color and let's say that if it is, I'll go for something called as red green diverging, and I'll say that I'll click on advanced and I'll say that keep it center at 0, which is absolutely fine. Use the full color range, and if I click on OK and apply, I get something like this. Oops, I think, yeah, not waterfall. I'll put profit over here. Now things become better. Okay, so I'll go for edit color. I'll go for red green diverging, and I'll say that use the entire color range over here. Go to advanced, center has to be in 0. I'll click on apply and I'll click on OK. Now what happens over here is that everywhere I can see, this is where there is a chart in which we can see there's some green values over here. The greener the value, the higher the profit of that particular subcategory. I'll right click over here, rotate labels, and I can see that this subcategory is giving me the highest profit, the subcategory of copiers. So I'll say accessories, appliances, art, binders, and then I can see bookcases is giving me losses. And then I can say that supplies and tables are the two ones which are in losses over here. So of all the categories or subcategories that generated profit, okay, I am able to see that there are three categories which are generated loss. So we can read it something like this: that accessories went like this, then we went like this, then went like this, and now we can see that bookcases brought the profit down a bit. So the cumulated profit up to this particular part, the bookcases would have brought that profit down a bit. Okay. Now, if I am interested, I think I was pretty much interested in. Oops. Seem to have lost the chart. Yeah, got it. Now I seem to have interested. I'll just click this and duplicate this and try and do this with year. So let me take the order date and put it up over here. So I can do it for order date. Definitely I can do it for order date, but I think I need to change the color a bit over here as well, right? So I think, uh, this is how we can probably, let me first edit the colors, guys. I'll say that let's go for green gold diverging and apply it. Now, here I am able to see that 2018 the profit was not very high, and 2019 the profit was very substantial. It increased. The conclusion that I'm able to make from this very simple and very fundamental waterfall chart is that the profit keeps on increasing year by year. That is one thing that I'm able to see. And this height over here, which is around 280K or 285K, is the amount of profit that I'm making in all those 5 years combined, right? That's the point over here of waterfall chart. So I think let me delete this one, come back to sheet 12. Let me delete this as well. This is my waterfall chart. Generally what shows up is a total over here, which is show row grand totals, but somehow it's not coming up in my case. I think there seems to be some update or some small changes I need to do. But if you go to analysis, if you go to totals over here, and you can go for show grand totals, add all subtotals. This is the one which is not being activated right now. The totality will come up over here, which we have seen in the diagram, right? This totality was is not coming up in my case right now, but no worries. I'm sure it's a temporary problem. I'll look into it and fix it up. But this is how we draw the you know okay, let me see. So once the total analytics option on the left side tab, let me see. Okay, check. We probably can look into it later. Okay, so this is what is called as waterfall chart, guys. Right? This is there for us to understand how things are moving across various subcategories over here, and which categories are giving me profit and losses. Then we can go for something called as funnel chart. Okay, that is funnel chart, as in we need to understand what is funnel over here. If you look at the funnel, and I mean, take a normal funnel. What do you mean by a funnel? In fact, we have been using this. So let's continue that trend. We can click on this and we can say that, okay, let me use something called as a funnel chart. So I'll show you guys what do you mean by a funnel chart. All right, so this looks like a funnel chart. Okay, this is a good funnel chart over here. A lot of shapes can be given. We'll not worry too much about the shapes right now, but I think various tools can draw funnel charts in a different way. We'll draw a funnel chart in a very basic sense over here. So if I look into it, if I look into just the funnel, what do you mean by funnel? All right, so I think this is how it is. So if I look at this particular part, there's a totality, there's a portion of that, there's a subset of that, there's another subset of the bigger totality, and the subsets keeps on increasing, decreasing rather. For example, we can say that there are totalities over here. For example, let's say these are the total number of people we have invited to a certain seminar, and let's say this is around 30,000. Excuse me. And let's say this is around 30,000. Out of the 30,000 invited, around 20,000 came up. So all the people who came to the webinar and all the people who were invited to a webinar, the people came to a webinar is a portion of that, isn't it? So the funnel keeps on decreasing the case over here. So how can we draw funnel chart in Tableau? Right? Or rather, I should say a basic funnel chart. Let's not get into that level of fancy stuff which we have seen. Right? What I need to do is to draw a dual axis uh, chart over here. Okay, now let me go for this and let me try and put in let's say ship mode wise this thing. Okay, I'll take ship mode and put it up, and I'll go for sales. I'll put it up, I'll keep it, I'll swap the axis, it becomes something like this. I'll go for the entire view. Right, so this is standard class, first class. This is how the bars will look like. Let's say I want to convert this into a funnel chart. I'll take ship mode. Now again, I'll have to do one thing which is related to the calculated field. I will create another calculated field. I'll click on this drop down, I'll create a calculated field. Don't worry guys, we'll move on to what exactly is calculated field. Right now I'm just taking advantage of this particular portion over here. I'll create a calculated field called as funnel, which is minus of my sales. I'll take minus of sales. It says the calculation is valid. I'll click on OK. And now I'm creating a funnel chart over a funnel type of variable over here. What I need to do is to take this variable and put it just before this sum of sales over here. The sum of sales just before that. Right. That way, the axis shifts to the center. Okay, the zero axis shifts to the center, and the negative of sales is whatever is positive of sales, there's a negative of sales over here. Okay, so there's a funnel of minus 1358,216. This is another funnel of 1358,216. That way it looks like a funnel chart over here. Okay, now once I look into this, I can click on this and I'll say that, yeah, we can then probably remove the access over here, stop showing header over here, and we can say that this funnel now can be used. Now you can actually put this, now as the moment we have put in two things over here, we can easily see that there are two marks being created, right? The two marks created are, one is for some funnel, other one is for sales. Now whatever you want to put in, let's say I want to put in sales over here, so I'll use these sales, and I'll take the sales variable and put it on label of sales, so that the sales comes in over here. Okay, now I can right click over here, format, and of course we can do a number of things, one of which is we can click on label, go to font, and I'll say match mark color. We can do that, but I think it's also not submitting properly over here. Let me make it bold. Okay, so this is right now simple case of funnel chart that we can create. Let me quickly edit the title because we forgot to do the same thing that we discussed a few minutes ago. I forgot to do it. Right. So I'll just click on this. I'll go to Arial Black. I click on OK. And now I can say that this is a funnel chart. I'll try and give it a color as well. Give it a color. Let me give it a dark brown color. If I apply and if I click on OK, this is how the funnel chart is now ready. Okay. And then you can, click over here, go to format, and you go to, various fields over here. Let's say the field being this. And I think if I look into the alignment, right? So, and if I go for alignment and I'll say that, hello, I do not want in the column portion, I do not want the header or perhaps I want that line to go off. Let me see how can we do that. If I look into this, and if you can say the row divider, let me try and go for this. I can say that let's keep it as none. I'll keep the row divider as none. What I want is this line to disappear over here. I want that entire thing to come up as only one type of bar, right? That way it looks a slightly better funnel chart. Okay, right now if I go for presentation, the line keeps on coming in between, indicating that some adjustments have been made. For that, what we need to do is to ensure that I go to column and I'll say that, let's say column divider, I'll say none, and yeah, I'll be able to remove that. I'll be able to remove that particular line. Secondly, you can also go for formatting and you can also remove the background lines over here so that we can easily say that this is my funnel chart. Now, you can put in sales as a color on all. Let me put sales as a color on all. Right, this is the case over here. Edit color, and we can say red green diverging. If I apply it, no, not doesn't look good, doesn't look that good. We'll go for red and gold. If I apply it, oops, bad one. We'll go for green gold. Let's apply it. Okay, and I think this looks like a better funnel. Right, so if once I present it, I can say that, okay, most of my sales is being generated from second class, then from standard class, then it moves on to second class. We can contribute that the second class sales is almost half, not even half of the total sales generated by the standard class. And similarly, the same day category sales generated over here is absolutely like all around 10 to 15% of the sales generated by the standard class. All that kind of inferences will start coming up over here. All right, guys. So I think these are certain good charts that we can draw. I'll go for another one. Okay, and I think that is something called as word cloud. I think not a lot of people are aware that how can we draw a word cloud in Tableau. We can actually go for a word cloud as well. So we'll move on to that. Have you seen a word cloud before this? I'm sure you would have. I mean, see, generally word cloud is used where there's a lot of textual data. Okay, for example, let me show again on this. Let me go for word cloud. Okay, if I look into what exactly do we mean by word cloud, it looks something like this, right? It highlights what are the most commonly used words over here. We can color them up, we can do a number of things over here as well, right? So this, if create it gets created, it also, just like a map, represents a lot of things can be represented, used very much if there is a table consisting of reviews. If these are textual reviews, customers are given reviews over here, and you have a column like this, word class or the word cloud almost becomes inevitable to, I mean, it's very difficult to avoid a word cloud in case there's a textual level data, especially customer reviews. Okay, so in your analytics career, if you come across a data like this, you probably can use that. Right now, just copied the funnel chart. I'll just click on this and say that let's get rid of this particular portion over here. This is my word cloud. Let's say I want to understand the um, state wise things. Let me try and put it state wise things, because I don't think product wise will be able to. If you look at product name over here, the product names are very, very, big over here. Okay. So I probably like to avoid that. I'll take state, right? I'll take state and put it on text. I'm not doing anything. I just taken state and put it on text. It gives me all the states which are present over here. Okay. Now what I need to do is do very simple thing over here. That is, take the state and put it on size as well. Oops, 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 oops. Okay. You definitely will take the state and put it on size, but before that you need to convert this into a something called as text. There's something called as in marks. What you need to do is to complete this into a text. Select this as a text and now take state and put it on size. This is interesting. Mm-mm-mm-mm. And if I take the, okay, this is not coming up properly. So let me try and take the sales over here and put it on color. That way I'm able to color the text. Oh, right now it's in standard view. If I take it to the entire view, does it changed? It seems to be a lot of things are missing in the version that I'm using in this particular session. Let me try it again. Let me try and put state into text. That way the text comes up over here. Okay, and grid. You need to state and put it on state. Okay, the size is being increasing, but somehow the word cloud is not coming up over here. Slightly disappointing. Let me try and take state over here in detail. Again, the same thing. Ah, so I'll go for shape text. I think this is something that we can do. Perhaps this is something which is being avoided. I think it's the updation of the version that seems to be a problem over here. So perhaps word cloud, let's keep it for some other day, guys. What I'll do is I'll instead of that, we can discuss something else over here, which probably is nothing but I think we have taken care of funnel chart, water chart, donut chart, Pareto chart, right? And then we have dual axis stacked bar chart. What else is remaining that can be discussed over here? I think we've discussed everything, guys, right? So apologies for something more towards word cloud. We'll move on to this and I'll see what kind of updation is required in the version and we'll come back to that, right? So I think if I try the display option again, mm, it doesn't change it up. Cool. So, guys, let's keep the word cloud for some other day. I think we've seen a lot of charts today, anyways, right? So, let's stick to that. Okay. So, allow me to go to word chart for some other day. Right now, let me delete this. Okay. Let's see what the problem is, which is the problem is coming up in my Tableau version. And once we look into that, we'll be able to remove that portion. Cool, guys. All right. So I think this is what I wanted to discuss in today's session. There are 4 to 5, very notorious and very well-known charts which cannot be drawn with a click over here. They're not inbuilt charts over here. So what we try to do today, or what I've tried to do, is to convey how can those charts be drawn in Tableau. In the next session onwards, we'll move on to, that is tomorrow, we'll move on to calculated fields, right? So I think I just introduced calculated fields. So there are 3 things that we'll see. One is calculated fields, the second one is parameter, the third one is sets in Tableau. All 3 of them very important, right? So now we'll move on to slight complexities and how can we use them in our visuals. So the visual drawing, singular visual drawing portion is over. Once we are done with calculated field parameters and sets, we'll see how can they help us in our visuals. And once we are done with that, then we'll move on towards dashboarding and storytelling. All right. So this is something that we probably can start. We'll also start from creating hierarchies over here. So I think I'll move on to that. So I think there are four things. One is creating hierarchy, how to use calculated fields, how to use parameters, and how to create sets in Tableau. These are four things that we'll cover up in the next session, that is tomorrow. All right. So, guys, thank you very much for joining this particular session. And as I do always, I hope I've added some value to your time. And if you're watching this recorded content, it'll be great if you get some access of these charts over here. And we'll be using these charts. We should always use such charts which are not very well seen with various people, or there are various users over here in Tableau. And Tableau can help you do that as well, right? So I'll just stay in this particular session for another couple of weeks to address any kind of doubt on the chat box if it comes up. If not, you guys can put your doubts in the chat box if you have any. Otherwise, academic discussion wise, I'm ending the session over here. I'll wait for the next 2 minutes, and in case you have any doubt, as you can see on my screen, guys, I've just saved my work. I did Control S, and I've logged in Tableau Public already. So it'll not ask me to log in again. But if you're not logged in, it might ask you to log in again. It first saves the work in Tableau Public, just like this. Okay, so the Tableau Public, the work is saved in Tableau Public first, and then you can download it from here, which I'm going to do now. Right. So yeah, this is it, guys. If you have any doubt, feel free. I'll stay here for another minute. All right. Feel free if you have any doubt in whatever you have discussed today, except the word cloud. Allow me to get back on that. Take it as a promise that this will be taken in the next session. Don't worry about that. Meanwhile, I'll just put this in the resources so that you guys can take help of this. The entire input in the resources portion. Right. So let me put it up over here. That way, whatever work we have done today gets reached to everyone. Right. Cool, guys. I think there is no doubt as such. What we can do is we can wrap up the session now. And thank you very much for joining this session. And now I'll end the session and see you guys tomorrow, same time. Okay. Bye bye.